Were you surprised by this decision by the Saudis and Russia to extend these sort of cuts? And is it going to move the needle in any way on the prices of energy?
Sure. I would say we are not very surprised about the extension of the 1 million cut by Saudi, but I'm slightly surprised by the Russia cutting the 500,000 ton for their exports as well. But our view is that we are expecting the oil prices to remain at a weak balance, and we are expecting Brent oil prices in the second half of $80 per barrel. That's because we are seeing a tighter supply in the second half, with Saudi cutting 1 million barrels starting from July and extended into August. And this may further expand it if the supply and demand didn't balance in the future. And then now with Russia is also joining the camp as well. However, we are also concerned on the demand perspective. So Bank of America is forecasting GDP growth globally of only 3% versus growth versus 3.6% last year. And at the same time, like what Elizabeth was saying, demand from China is also not that surprisingly good. And at the same time that we are seeing U.S. production is still slightly growth as well. So we do see the second half tighter than the first half, but not a lot tighter. So that's why we are expecting the oil prices probably to range bound at about $80 a barrel.
What about, can OPEC trust Russia with the cut? That's the other thing, because it's not exactly an opaque oil market anymore. It's not exactly a transparent oil market anymore, is it? That's the thing. Yeah,
so if you look at Russia, their announcement is not talking about production cuts, right? It's talking about the export cuts. Actually, since early this year, we don't have the official Russia production number anymore, but the export number we can still track. So this year, IEA is expecting Russia to, before the cut, to export at around 5 to 5.2 million barrel compared to the 4.6 to 4.8 million barrel last year, right? And then if you look at India, that in May, our Indians import from Russia is up to 2.2 million barrel already. So the export number we can track, not the production number. So I guess now it is more talking about the export number matters.
It's interesting that the news about China is also looking at restricting the exports of these sort of EV making metals. I know you don't cover germanium and the like here, but what's your take on this? How is it going to impact maybe how some of these EV makers and the like are going to get these sort of metals? Are there alternatives?
Yes, sure. So the gallium, China is the biggest producers. We account for around 80 to 85% of the resources in gallium markets, and we produce more than 90% of the productions as well. So, and then for the germanium, China is also the biggest producer in the world as well. Of course, U.S., Russia also have quite a big chunk of resources of germanium. I would say that if the ban really happen completely, then the alternative is to look for the byproduct from like bauxite or aluminum or some of the other metals like zinc as well. However, it will definitely push up the cost in a big magnitude. And gallium and germanium are very important metals for, like, for example, solar panel and LED semiconductors as well. So, of course, if this completely banned, it takes longer time for them to source the materials, given you have to get the byproduct by aluminum or bauxite or zinc. And then you also push up the cost curve in a big magnitude as well.